And she said, yes, 3 people stopped me to see where my mummy was. And
Yeah.
which I think is awesome. I mean, I'm glad people are looking out for each other.
Yeah.
But it's also really weird for a kid these days to just be out at age 7 or 8 on his or her own, which I think is unfortunate.
Yeah, no, I agree. So it sounds like you think the differences then are largely negative, the fact that there's not the same community and the kids don't spend the same amount of time outside.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had a follow-up question and I lost it. Nope, maybe it'll come back to me later. What about any other downsides to being outside? Are there any risks or any uncomfortableness that goes along with being outside that you find that you encounter?
I think only in the wintertime if we haven't brought extra dry clothes.
Right.
That would be the only one. But, or if we go to the beach and for whatever reason we haven't brought a change of clothes.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, by and large, like, compared to, my husband's from Argentina, and so when you go outside in the countryside in Argentina, there's all kinds of stuff that could happen. Like, I don't know, even like little worms burrowing into your feet and stuff. And we don't have any of that here, which is really nice. So
That's true, yeah.
So yeah, I don't particularly see it as risky. I feel like one thing I read when I was working on one of my books was it's actually, I can't remember, some big World Health Organization has actually declared it more risky to stay inside because you wind up losing so many of your physical abilities and ability to be in the world. So yeah, I think that's.
What about your daughter? Does she crave going outside? Like, does she ask to go outside? Does she ask to go on outdoor activities?
It depends on what it is.
Right.
Like, if it's camping, she's packed and ready to go the moment I say anything. Usually in summertime, she's asking to go out and go to the beach or whatever. In the wintertime when it's pouring rain, not so much.
I have some parents say, their kids love it and they would live outside all the time. And I have other parents who say, I think it's important for them to be outside, but I feel like I have to drag them outside every time, that it's not something that's innate to their desires. So I was just interested to see whether or not you thought that was true for your daughter as well.
Yeah, I think because my daughter loves reading so much, she would be quite happy to stay at home with a book. But if she can tear herself away from the book and I say, let's go to Moss Rock and I'll bring hot chocolate, then yes, she's there. And then she gets there and totally forgets about the hot chocolate and just wants to play and run after lizards and stuff. So.
If you had to rank outside play or being outside against some of the other activities that your daughter participates in, reading or academics or anything like that, is it any more or less important than other things that she does?
For her, it's less important than reading.
What about for you? Is it any more important for you that she does outside play versus other things?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I find a difference in how present she is and how relaxed she is in the world and like the usual kinds of things. She sleeps better, all that kind of stuff.
Now, I think I kind of know this question. So you worked on the book, so you've obviously done research, but your thoughts and feelings about getting outside and the importance of being outside, are those things that you think stem from your own values and observations and experiences, or do you seek out other information or opinions to help you shape your ideas?
I think mostly it's from just a gut instinct, and then I've done a lot of research and found out a lot of other stuff that of course we're always biased. I anyway tend to look for things that will support my own opinions.
That confirm.
Yeah, but I've also read stuff that doesn't agree with me and I don't agree with it, so I try to be more or less well-rounded.
That's right. And when you read things that you don't agree with, is it just that you, in your own experience, that doesn't work for you, or is it that you know the science in it is flawed, or?
I feel like when I read stuff that doesn't talk about that, for example, says that kids being tech savvy is more important than being outside.
Right.
I feel like there's economy behind that and a whole bunch of other things behind that is not necessarily science-based, and I do feel that the science supports the importance of being outside.
Now, the kinds of articles that you were just talking about, for example, being tech savvy is more important than going outside. Are those kinds of things that you seek out, or do they just come to you passively through media or news or other people's opinions?
I think I tend to seek them out because I second guess myself, and because I'm reasonably tech savvy, but I also make a point of kind of pushing that side of life away, because I feel like it's a bit of a rabbit hole that I don't want to jump into, and I just value other things more. And so, knowing that that's fairly non-mainstream, I try to go after articles that will persuade me otherwise, just to make sure that I'm not completely out of my mind.
Right.
So
that's right. That's interesting. Kind of challenge yourself.
Yeah.
And then, no, I still feel good about what I feel.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting. So this is a good segue into sort of the second section, and this deals with sort of outside information and messages and pressures, and sort of as a parent how you exist in society and how that might influence your decisions. So do you feel like the topic of sort of outside play or getting outside, is that something as a parent that you hear a lot about?
I think because of the school that Maya goes to, yes.
Yeah.
Because it is a school that focuses more on spending time outside than a lot of schools do.
Right.
So I think because of that school, and also because of the group of friends that we have as a family, who are all very outdoor minded, I think that's something that I hear a lot. But when it comes to mainstream media, no, not at all.
No, not at all. Did you choose the school specifically because it was an outdoor focus, or was that just a happy coincidence?
To some degree. Mostly we chose it because it focused on, how West Coast and hippie is this, but it focused on meditation and yoga and slowing down and mostly social skills.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important these days.
Yeah.
And I figure my daughter's going to pick up the academics at some point, but the social skills and the time outside, like building those relationships between people and between people and nature, I think that's something, for me anyway, that's something that has to be solid by the time they're 10.
Yeah.
So that's why we picked the school.
Yeah. That's something that no one's talked about explicitly, but I think might be true. Do you think that kids, sort of the socialization process that kids go through today is different or lacking in any way because they don't do those sort of community neighborhoods,
absolutely,
peer things?
Yeah. I think as a society we're much, stop me if I get on my soapbox too much, but I think as a society we're much more focused on, okay, this is my family and this is where I belong, which is great. And these are the things that I have to do in order to be a successful human being. And so that means we're going to jump into the car and go to music lessons and then go to do this. Whereas before, I think people said, this is my family, this is the family that I'm part of, and these are my neighbors, and these are the things we have to do to make sure that we're having a good relationship with our neighbors. And then there's this, church group or mosque group or whatever. And so I think it was much more about relationships in the past than it is now, including relationships between people and neighbors and relationships with the environment. I think a sense of place, ultimately we're hardwired so that a sense of place is actually equally important, but we're not paying as much attention to it. And so I think we're so used to dislocating ourselves that the sense of place isn't a priority as much anymore. And I really want a sense of place to be a priority for Maya, so that she has a relationship with the outdoors and the particular environment that she's in now, and also the people that live here. So
when you were talking, sort of when you just started that, you were talking about how, this is me as a person, my family, this is what I have to do to be successful, these are the things that I should do. Do you think that that's a message that's really present in society right now, particularly for parents? Is there like
Absolutely.
Achieve A, B, C,
yes.
D, check boxes?
Yeah. And we don't have a lot, because we travel around by bike, it kind of limits where we're willing to go and how much time we're willing to spend to get there, which is an intentional decision. But for people who find it easier to get to all kinds of different things, they don't have that kind of, oh, well, I can't make it, so never mind, sort of attitude that we have. And so hear from them that there's a lot more